Going on YouTube, man? It's your boy CJ the Gym Slasher back at it again, man. Appreciate you guys for sticking around and showing us and showing up, man. Showing me love, man. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, man. Give me unconditional love, and I gave it right back. With that being said, let's get right into it. Gym peeve of this one, right? Not listening to your body. Now, how would I know that when I'm in the gym, right? How would I know that when I'm working out, right? Again, like I've said before, I'm a trainer by design, I'm a trainer by heart. I observe, I watch, I listen, I hear, and not listening to your body, it can be devastating to you long term, right? It's important that you become one and you listen and you become one with yourself on a day-to-day basis, because only you know you better than anybody else. And there may be people that in your life that are close to that in terms of knowing who you are, but you know you better than anybody else. And what happens when we don't listen to our bodies, when we're working out and we're exerting ourselves and we're pushing our limits and we're pushing our bounds, what happens is there's unforeseen injuries that you may not see at the time, but they come back, they come around when you not expecting it. And then you tend to be confused, like, where did this come from? I don't remember what happened. Or sometimes you actually know, like, yeah, I knew my shoulder was bad. And then I tried to, bench 325, and now the bar fell straight on my chest or caused major injuries, right? Or worse, you get a real extreme pinch nerves and stuff like that, or sprained shoulders, or torn labrums, torn biceps, things that as you get older, particularly even, you're not paying attention to, or you're overlooking, can come back to haunt you. When I go into the gym, I've had, I want to say it's about 12 years ago now, I think, actually, about more or less 11 years ago, that happened to myself. Being stubborn, not listening to my body, kind of just, from the old school mythology of just keep pushing through, right? Just deal with the pain and fight through the pain and all that. And I did that. I was, I couldn't lift up my shoulder. I did something to it at the time. I'm just taking you back to at the time. I knew something happened when I slept wrong on it, and I didn't think anything of it. I kept going to the gym. I kept doing my same routine, and it hurt so bad I could barely turn my neck on either side, but more so when I would try to turn to my right. Painful. Every morning I would literally, just to get to brush my teeth, I would have to lift up my right arm just to get the toothbrush up and then and brush and stuff like that. Wash my face, I had to do that just to get it going. Meanwhile, at that same time, I was still going to the gym lifting normal. And at that time, I was, not even thinking in terms of, the pain. I was putting up, my warm up at that time. That was, 10, 12 years, 12 years ago, solid 12 years ago for sure. It was nothing for me at 275. And that was almost like that was my second set. I was, or actually, no, I take that. That was my third set. My first set at that time was 225. That was my warm up. I did that for 15. Then from there, I went up to, from 225 to 255 on the second set. Was doing that for 12, and then 275 I was doing for 10. And then, I got up to about 305, 315, depending on how I felt, on days that I felt good, that I could really push through my injury, and days that I was like, all right, that was the only time where I would kind of like fluctuate, when it was appropriate for me to kind of take off the weight. But I was doing that and not thinking, and that was just the start. And then I'm doing curls, I'm doing pull-ups, I'm doing tricep extensions, I'm doing, military, I'm doing all these upper body things, and knowing that some of those were worse than others, but yet I'm doing this for weeks on end, until it got to the point where I just couldn't lift my shoulder up anymore. I just couldn't do it. So I finally went into the doctor. It wasn't like I didn't have insurance or anything. I just was too, again, stubborn to go. But about 4 or 5 months of this has surpassed to the point where, like I said, I couldn't even lift my shoulder up anymore. I finally got to the doctor, told them what was going on. Then they, send me to another specialist, a shoulder and neck, to where they look at, did some X-rays and did some MRIs. Fortunately, I didn't completely tear off my muscles, but I had a severe nerve injury, a pinched nerve. That what ended up happening was that I built muscle atop my traps and my shoulder on top of the nerve. That the nerve was, it was too much muscle for it to basically heal properly, because I'm lifting, I'm getting bigger, I'm bulking, and that, so it's compounding the muscles that was in my shoulder, and I wasn't allowing it to heal. So then on top of that, I got this muscle, basically over it, that was also applying so much pressure on this that it was, which enabled me to lift the shoulder properly. So what I had to end up doing was basically I had to stop lifting upper body. I had to just completely stop to let the muscle get down, lose the muscle. I could do legs and stuff like that, and I could do, but I couldn't do squat. I had to adjust and do machines and leg press and stuff, because I couldn't do this. That killed my shoulder. So with that, I still could do cardio and I could still do a couple other things. So I lost essentially about 30 to 40 pounds, give or take, somewhere around there, for the next 6 months to a year. And for 6 months, I couldn't lift my upper body. I could do curls. I could do some things light as the months waned, but bench was done. Dumbbell bench done. All that was gone. So as a result, and I had to do rehab in addition to that. So I'm doing light stuff, with the little rubber things and the other bars, and doing all that stuff. So it set me all the way back, and to the point it set me back so far that even to this day, I have yet to go back to lifting the way I was lifting 12 years ago. Now, there was a lot of other things that kind of came into play as I, had to reset my body and reset what I was doing. But those days, even to this day, are null and void. I don't want to get to that level anymore. But it was at that time where, I was lifting, but my shoulder just simply couldn't take it. And when I took off that much, it was one of those, like you said, when you use your muscles, it's a use it or lose it. And because I couldn't do so much for so long, it took me, and I'm natural, where people call it natty, in the gym world, are you natty or you're not natty? I'm a natural, and that's no knock to anybody that does other stuff. Salute to you, because it still requires a lot of work. And I may get into that. I may do a topic on that in terms of using stuff and not using stuff, and the taboos and the pros and the cons and all that. I may get into that. If somebody is interested in it, hit a comment on there and say, yeah, I want to hear your take on that stuff. And I probably just do it anyway, just because I think, but show me some love in the comment. That being said, what ended up happening, I went through the rehab and started all over again. And like I said, because I'm a natural, it's going to take a lot longer, because I don't take things. So I'm just going to let my body do what it do and listen to it. And that was probably the first time, not that I haven't listened to my body, but that was the first real, slap in the face of this could have been avoided. You know what I'm saying? Like what my body was telling me, CJ the Gym Slasher, you could have avoided this. Had you just listened to yourself when that initial, discomfort happened, you went to the doctor, you probably could have took a couple weeks off, some ibuprofen, I can't take ibuprofen, but use some ice, and take some Advil, some anti-inflammatories that are good for the body, right? And if I would have took maybe a week or two, maybe even 3 weeks off, I would have been fine, right? It would not even a thought of questioning. I know what that is, and I haven't had that to that severity, but I've had a couple of pinch things, and immediately I knew exactly what to do. I took a couple of days off. I took a couple of weeks off. I went lighter in my weight and just listened to my body. When that happened from there, it was a life lesson learned. Ever since then, from when I've had in that encounters of a pinched nerve or something just felt right, didn't feel right, I knew what to do. Take some time off. Don't do what the lift that I was doing that day. Change it up. Go light, because you know the old saying, you live to fight another day. Today ain't it. It ain't my day. I just didn't feel right. And accept that. Learn how to listen to your body. I had to learn the hard way to listen to my body and do the right things necessary. I since then, from that 12 years ago, since then, my workouts have been almost 100 times better than what they were before. And they were great workouts before. But what I have altered and what I've added into my workouts is each day that I know I'm going to work out, it could change. And I knew that. That was the mindset is, hey, man, the day before you wanted to lift, maybe it's a heavy day, maybe it's a big bulk day or whatever, and then you get up and you go down to the gym and you starting to feel this, you feeling your elbow, you may got tennis elbow, or your neck ain't, you didn't, just still tight, your muscles are still tight. Maybe this ain't a bulk day, maybe it's a light day, just so you get a good workout. The name of the game is have a good workout. You may not have the best workout, or just because your body just said, nah, we ain't having it today. Listen to it, humble yourself. It's okay to take a little bit off for that day. That's not saying to shut down and don't work out at all. It's just saying to modify, change it, and then understand. And if you have to go to a doctor, go to your doctor, go to your physician, and ask questions and talk with them. And so you can understand what your body is trying to tell you, what's going on, so that you can have a elongated workout career, workout life, workout journey, void of just sitting home because you couldn't lift. So with that being said, I didn't want to make this too long. It's just a conversation of understanding how to listen to your body, using myself as an example of that. And I know we've had some examples. You can share them in the comments, or and we could have a conversation about that. But with that being said, who are you? What is your mission? It's the Gym Slasher. I appreciate you guys. I'll be back again. Go.